Hey folks, welcome to today's video. Now, the past couple of days I've been farming an Oni-Goroshi. Now, if you don't know what an Oni-Goroshi is, it's basically a one-handed sword that acts as a two-hander that gives a ton of extra fizz as fire, and it's only available by killing Hillock in the Twilight Strand. The reason I did this was I've pretty much killed every single boss in the game. Well, I have, apart from probably Uber Hillock, and as a bit of a completionist, I fancied, okay, let's try and kill this boss. Now, the way you do it is simple. You make a character and you run through the Twilight Strand. However, when you get to the end of the Twilight Strand, when you kill Hillock, you will not go to town. Going to town will disable the ability for Hillock to turn into Uber Hillock. And what you will do is you will kill Hillock, you will log out, and you can wait 1.5 minutes to kill him again. I think that's about the amount of time. It's either 100 seconds or 1.5 minutes, something like that. And then Hillock will respawn. Now, obviously, that leaves a lot of downtime. And that can be quite boring if you just sat waiting for 1.5 minutes. So what you can do is make 3 to 4 to 5 characters if you want and rotate between them. So once you've killed Hillock, there are a few things. You can't obviously return to town, so you're stuck in this area, which means you have to think about using your sort of materials cleverly, which I did find quite interesting over the period of time. So I would have rings that occasionally I would get to augment or transmute. I have some gear in here that I've been unable to ID because I've not really found any scrolls. I did, however, find a perfect gold rim leather cap, and you can see this is not cheesed or anything or faked because I haven't been in town because it is not available. So I did get myself a perfect leather gold rim. Got myself some rare gloves, bit of a physical two-handed mace, some random jewelry, some movement speed boots, and it's been quite an enjoyable process doing so. Now, once you've killed Hillock, you'll log out and you'll go to your next character. And you will rinse and repeat. You will see this guy has a sword, he's got a mana regen, he's got nothing really of note here. And then once you've killed Hillock, you'll log out and you'll go to your third character or your fourth character, whatever you want to do. And you will see this guy has a mace, he's got some rings, but I never found an amulet. I still haven't managed to find an amulet and then be able to ID it. Amazing for some reason, because probably at one point I decided to use my scroll on maybe trying to find a better weapon, so on and so forth. This guy hasn't got any movement speed boots, and you know that's sometimes the way the cookie crumbles. Then I have one final character which has just some resist, sword, two-handed mace, some slightly better rings, a fizz belt, and some movement speed, and this guy was a little bit better. The other character which I had, which was the main character that actually found and killed Hillock, which I will show you, had this gear on him. I've since deleted the character because although it's not, I don't think it's confirmed. I think once you've killed Uber Hillock, that character doesn't really have a very good chance of getting him again. And because you've got other characters that still haven't entered town, you may as well just play with them. So the guy that actually killed Hillock had a red beak, he had a black heart ring, he had some kind of semi-decent weapon, he had some fizz on him, etc. I've got the POBs. Now, if you want to see what killing Uber Hillock looks like, I can go ahead and show you. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that right now. I'll just switch over to display capture. You can see I managed to find 3 uniques, and the highest damage I had was 106.2. Now, what you will see is if we pause it, this sword here is glowing. And this means he's Uber Hillock. And honestly, after you've killed Hillock like hundreds of times, you'll just know off the first hit that, oh, this guy's tanky, this must be him. Basically, what he tends to do is he just tanks a ton of damage. He's just pretty much the same. Don't think he walks any quicker or anything. Maybe he's a bit more aggressive, but he walks towards you there. And I thought, because I'd been streaming this, I thought I better put the camera on. I've finally found him. I better come out of the zombie mode, slug life in it. And yeah, we're kiting him back. And then he pulls out the sword. You'll see he turns green When he turns green, I just begin to unleash, and he does have this slam. Now, one thing I'm not too sure about, and maybe somebody can confirm this in the comments, is if you die and re-log back onto the character, can you get back in the zone? I think you can, because the zone wouldn't have reset yet, so you can probably get back in, but try not to die. And he will spawn these minions that then chase you. Now, this worked pretty well with Spectral Throw, because obviously I'm able to kill multiple things at once. My advice is if you're playing like a Shadow with Poison, or you're playing maybe the Heavy Strike Marauder, just take your time. The way this guy is going to kill you is if you panic. As long as if you have mana, you're probably going to be quicker than him. So you can run around, keep your distance, and try not to be surrounded and get a slow, painful death. Because the last thing you want to do is farm this and then die. And then it says, it drops and it says, what? I'm free? You did this? Well, anything is better than being stuck in that. His mindless thirst fell far short of my desires, simple though they are. But now there's you, so vital, so defiant, so take me. This dying world is but kindling, yet his unquickened blood may boil once again, and I've waited so long for a real bath. Now, what's interesting about this sword, if we go into the game, where I am now leveling a character with the sword just to see how it works, you will see it's now equipped, and the way it works is if you get her embrace, which is if you crit, you will become immune to freeze, chill, ignite. You'll get extra damage, and you'll basically get onslaught without it being onslaught, so you can put onslaught on top. I've decided to just mess around with it, but the interesting thing to note about this sword is it does talk to you. So when you kill certain enemies in the game, or I've even found, like I found a Tabula on this solo self-found run. When I killed the Exile that dropped the Tabula, the sword began to laugh. And sometimes when you kill unique bosses, such as Piety, and so on and so forth, it will go on to say secret voice lines that you haven't heard before. So it is an interesting thing. Visually, the sword does look kind of cool. You can see here I'm getting... I'm not going to be able to crit to show you, but basically when you crit, you will get her embrace, which takes fire damage per second. However, you then get a massive boost in damage. There it is, her embrace. You'll see here. And as long as if you've got enough fire mitigation, you'll be okay. Now, I don't really know what build I'd end up playing with this, or if I'd use it. I'm not too sure. However, it took 9 hours to farm, which might sound incredibly tedious. However, for some reason, I do enjoy these processes. It's quite methodical in the way that you have to swap your gear. You have to think about what you want to collect. I ended up going for this passive tree, which seemed to be semi-decent, which was just the move speed and proj damage. And again, you'll see now, because we've waited a period of time, the zone has reset. So my advice would be to use 4 characters. Sometimes if you're very, very quick, 3 characters can just be too quick that you might have to wait, and it kind of is annoying to wait. I did, however, do 4 and 5 characters because I was going to go for multiple because I'm an absolute loon, but most likely you won't do that, so I'd probably go with 4. And that's what I was doing, and I think it is interesting. I don't know if it's worth it, but if we do a slash played, each character basically has had 2 minutes on each character. Yeah, sometimes I might have found a unique, or I might have had a couple of weapons, and I might have thought, you know what, I'm not going to run to Hillock, I'm going to fully clear the area just to get a bit of loot. To note, my spectral DPS was between 70 and 100, and I think all of them could have killed Hillock fine. So as long as if you're around 70 odd DPS, you're probably going to be alright. And if not, just be careful, play it mechanically, you'll be fine. And yeah, things to note, because I was playing Spectral Throw, I wanted to look out for some greens, obviously. some fizz stuff, just basic stuff, and it's kind of like playing a mini version of Solo Self-Found in a singular, small, compact, contained area. So in a very weird way, it's got all of the hallmarks of PoE. It's just condensed. Just to show you the path of buildings, if you're interested in the characters, I imported them all and saved them for this video. So if we go to the Oni-Goroshi folder, we swap over for you boys. These are the 5 characters. So the character 1, he had a hit DPS of 91.1. Again, the tree doesn't really matter, to be honest. So he ended up having, if we look at the gear, red beak sword, black heart ring, move speed boots, some fizz to lightning rings, and some random gloves. The second guy had just res gear, a 2-handed maul, move speed boots, a rare iron ring, which was kind of nice, and a semi-decent little fizz belt. Other guy had 59 DPS. He was my lowest. Couldn't find any weapons on this guy. Just generally, like, wasn't a great time on him. Glad he didn't find glad he wasn't the guy that found Hillock. This guy has 54 DPS. On Spectral Throw, he has a sword and some other stuff. And yeah, that's kind of how it all is. I was just trying out different trees, you'll see. So this one went for Path of the Hunter. If we look at this tree, this one went for Harrier, because I didn't know which was the best, so I just winged it. This guy took like attack speed nodes and a random proj node. And then this character was kind of nice. This was probably the tree I'd go for. You get to get attack speed, proj damage, and then you also get this mastery, which is 10% move speed if you haven't been hit recently, which works out kind of nicely. When you're just relentlessly running to Hillock, it does help. Things to note, last things to note, you don't need to wear a chest piece basically until you probably find Uber Hillock, and then maybe you want to be slightly tanky or something. Basically, if you look at my move speed, it's 12. If I take this off, it's 15. They do slow you down, so what you could just do is just not have your chest piece, and then if you ever do see Uber Hillock, just slap one on. Unfortunately, my greens were in my chest piece, so I had to keep it. But yeah, you don't have to run with a chest piece the whole time. But yeah, that was 3.2 farming Oni-Goroshi. I did 4 characters, 5 characters, sorry. They each played 2 hours, so it was about 9 to 10 hours. And I honestly arsed around for probably 1.5 to 2 hours. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I think if I was to do it again, and I was to have the same level of luck, I could probably get an Onigiroshi 8-9 hours, something like that, if I was really going for it. Now this costs 1 to 2 divines, the sword. Not sure if it's worth it. Probably not. Probably it's best just to play a regular build, and then if you ever want to mess around with Oni-Goroshi, just buy it. But if you are interested, you solo self-found or something, maybe this video helps. If it did, leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing. Or if you want to go a step further, become a member on YouTube, or get your Twitch Prime out for me on twitch.tv/GGZII. Hopefully this video helped. Have a fantastic evening or morning wherever you're from. Peace.